What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman and Ben Rasa here for Awesemo.com, but we also have a special guest, Matt Gajewski, in the house to break down this Saturday's UFC pay-per-view. So this is the breakfast menu served by No House Advantage with a side of Matt Gajewski, which is kind of fun. See what I did there? You also need to go check out No House Advantage, whether it's NBA, MLB, NFL, or PGA. Compete for cash prizes, and you don't have to worry about fantasy points. We're talking about player props here, everybody. And we do a lot of player prop stuff. Now, can't do anything for the UFC on this one because we're taking only UFC bets, but you can sign up at No House Advantage using that promo code Awesemo. Get a $20 instant match deposit bonus on your first deposit. Beat your friends, not the house. Download the app in the App Store. Thank you, No House Advantage, for being the sponsor. This one's a little different, boys. We are talking a little bit of MMA today. First time we're doing it on the breakfast menu, and we went and had a threesome for this one. Kind of exciting, right? No?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited to have you. I will say I'm a little salty because I am in a nice groove. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm in a nice groove with the NBA, and now get an off day. Gotta change courses. But you know what? It's never bad to add another guy to the brunch, make the breakfast buffet that much bigger. I am riding the heater, Josh. Does that mean that I get to choose where I go in this order?
I think that's fair. You've got 5 straight NBA picks, as best I can tell.
Go? I'm going to go. I'm going first. I've made a decision.
The guest can be the meat in our sandwich, like he is on the screen.
Fair.
Look,
that's
man,
fair enough.
I've been tailing the NBA bets. It's not my avenue, so I will defer to Ben because he's made me some money.
All right. And this... It's perfect synergy because MMA, I do bet it, but certainly not my specialty, but we've got 2 extremely sharp. So I'm interested to see how my takes blend with yours. We really haven't talked much about where we're going with this video. We like to do it on the fly. I'm going to get things started. Going to the matchup that everyone's got their eye on. It's obviously the fighters that I'm most familiar with too. Going to Poirier McGregor, keeping it pretty standard, going against the public, against society. I'm going to Dustin Poirier. This line has moved. Was -110, -115. I see -125. I'm comfortable putting a strip of bacon on that. And it's just a simple fact that I look at this, and again, from a 30,000 yard view, Conor really hasn't fought much. And when he has, certainly we just saw this fight. And it seems, again, that really if you go and you can take him into deeper waters, the fight is going to shift to Poirier. So it's a situation where I look at what we've seen. Obviously, Conor, does he have the ability to finish it quickly? Of course, no doubt about it. Am I worried about a first round TKO or something along those lines? Yes, but I think if we can survive that initial surge, the fight and the momentum will shift to Poirier. So I just look at this. Again, it's a public side in Conor. I like that the line is moving with me. I wouldn't be surprised to see this close maybe even like at -140. And I think this fight will go several rounds, and the longer it goes, I think the better I feel about Poirier. So I'm not going to try to, do a method, no submission, no inside the distance, anything like that. I'm just going to say when it's all said and done, Poirier gets it done at -125.
I don't want that to happen, but I think that it is going to happen. I think we should change the mechanism up. We probably should have told the graphics guys behind the scenes, Matt, your picks should not be 4 strips of bacon. I assume we should do like cans of tuna or cans of Four Loko, something along those lines.
I thought about that, and then I continued living my life. Yeah, we should have done that. Cans of tuna.
On-air production meeting right now. So while you guys hear that, if you can grab those graphics, do it. Matt, you're up, man. What is your first bet for this Saturday's pay-per-view?
Ben, I already took Poirier. I love that bet. Another one I really like is Yana Kunitskaya, and we've already seen the line move in her favor so far. So she opened around a +120. Right now, you're going to have to get her around +100. Still very much comfortable with that. She's facing Irene Aldana, who hasn't looked very good recently. Aldana's 5-4 in the UFC, and recently she really struggled against Holly Holm. And Aldana is known primarily as a striker, and then to go in there against Holly Holm and get outstruck 154-69. Aldana's had good takedown defense throughout her career. It's up above 70%, but then Holly Holm took her down 5 times on the mat. When we look at Kunitskaya, she's a very diverse striker. She's very strong on the mat, and she very much has the advantage there. Neither of these fighters have strong takedown defense, especially Aldana if we want to look at that Holly Holm fight. So I think if it goes to the mat, neither of them are really submission threats, but that's kind of a way Yana Kunitskaya could try to win and solidify rounds, especially with Aldana struggling recently. So at +100, I like that a lot. I have it at +120. I'm willing to throw a strip of bacon on that.
There we go. There we go. Well, a
Use
can of tuna.
Will you strip of bacon, not tuna?
Do you eat bacon?
I don't cook it myself, but if it's...
Well, neither do I, but I eat it every day.
You don't cook anything, but if
that's true.
If it's there, I'll eat bacon, yeah.
Okay. It's good to know. Good to know.
Oh, I love this so much. Alrighty, one strip of bacon for me. We're going to a pretty sizable underdog, and that is Ryan Hall at plus 195. For those not familiar with Hall, and it's pretty easy to not be familiar with Hall, he doesn't get in the cage all that frequently. Combination of him wanting to get very specific training in and people just really not wanting his fight because he is different than everybody else. We are talking about an ultra high-end jiu-jitsu competitor. He hasn't been in the cage in 2 years since he beat Darren Elkins, 2.5 years since he hooked up BJ Penn and just ended him immediately, which was really wild to see. You expect BJ Penn to just not look very good. You don't expect him to get subbed immediately. The goal for Hall is going to be to get this fight to the mat. Striking is not his forte by any means, but he does throw a ton of kicks because he has no care in the world if he gets taken down. That's a goal of his. There's going to be a time where Ryan Hall runs into someone that isn't going to work for him. He's not going to be able to take him down. The striking is going to be too dynamic. I don't think we're here with Poirier. I was really surprised to see Ryan Hall be as big of an underdog as he is right here. So plus 195 looked great. I would have happily taken it quite a bit lower than that. We'll see where we end up after the card, but plus 195, I feel like I have a lot of wiggle room.
Do you have, again, because this is like half a question, half a comment, do you have any interest in taking a smaller strip of bacon on possibly Hall by submission?
I do, just because he's so dynamic there. It could also just be a very, very boring decision where he just simply controls him on the mat for 10 to 15 minutes of ground time, which is not really something that you want to watch. But the longer he has someone in a dangerous position, the more likely it is that he's going to succeed. So I don't mind taking, like a quarter strip of bacon or a half strip of bacon on Hall for the sub. But I do think it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was just a simple unanimous decision.
Fair enough. Is it back to me or are we snaking it?
Do you call half units half strips of bacon?
Yeah, it's like one bite.
Just a bite.
Just a bite. Got it.
Just a nibble.
We're trying here, man. Yeah, go ahead. No, okay. We're not snaking this stuff.
Okay, I'm going back. I'm gonna take a shot here at a prop that's a slight underdog at plus 120. It's Burns and Thompson under 2.5 rounds, and it's really, when I look at this fight, obviously this is the next one in terms of the big ones. I think that Gilbert Burns kind of controls the pace in the sense that the scenarios that what he's going to try to do is close the distance. He's not going to have the striking advantage. And I think no matter almost what happens, it's all positive for this under 2.5 rounds prop. He either is going to be able to do that, cause some damage, or get takedowns. All of those things are good. Or he's not, and he's going to get hurt kind of going in. And I think that Thompson has that advantage on the feet. So I think that if that is the case, no matter which fighter does it, I think there could be serious damage in this fight. And we saw in the past fight with Usman, he certainly stung him early, and then he ultimately was knocked out. I wouldn't be surprised for Burns to come out aggressive like that. And again, try to close that distance. No matter what happens, it's going to lead to opportunities, whether he gets hurt or he's successful, and maybe he gets it down to the mat. And I kind of feel pretty comfortable there. So at plus 120, that's worth a shot. I didn't lean to a side in this fight. I think it's a pretty difficult one to peg, but this is a prop that I'm pretty comfortable with to win 1.2 strips of bacon.
I actually like that. Spoiler alert, I'll be talking about that fight as well. But we don't need to get into it just yet. It does run in synergy with what you're doing. But Matt, we've got one more for you.
My second bet is going to be looking at another underdog. I know you took Ryan Hall. I like Nico Price at plus 140, just straight up for one strip of bacon. It's a really interesting fight that Nico Price finds himself in. He's going to be fighting Michael Pereira, who is up and down in the UFC. He's 3-2. We look at Nico Price recently. Fights haven't really gone his way. He fights to a win over James Vick. Then last year he fights Vicente Luque, and it's a TKO, but the doctor had to stop it just because that was an absolute war of a fight. Luque lands 130 strikes to Nico Price's 129. If you're a little shy of blood, don't go back and watch that fight. And after that, he fights Cerrone. It ends up being a no contest. It would have been a draw after repeated eye pokes, if I'm remembering correctly, and then he tested positive for a drug test. As far as this fight against Pereira, we have Price as easily the more aggressive fighter overall. Throws more strikes, lands more takedowns, even though that is very much Pereira's realm. I think right now Price is going to try to keep this standing, and he does have solid takedown defense, which should be able to help him keep Pereira at length and keep this fight standing where he wants it. And if it goes to a decision, I think this favors Price significantly. He has better output and he has better cardio than Pereira. The only worry I have is he's shown a little bit of durability issues, but if he can keep this on the feet and keep it at range, I like him here as an underdog.
I like that one a lot. He's going to be pretty active, and if this ends up going to a decision, that activity is going to reward him on the cards. At least that is what I would expect. So I'm all over that one with you. He is. He's just crazy. It's just simple. Like he doesn't have that thing that tells him that he shouldn't get into that war, because he's just going to get into that war.
That Luke fun to watch. Fight was absurd.
I'm going to have to watch
so
that.
Brutal. Yeah, you definitely did, Ben.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll watch it again.
You should watch it again, because it'll be that entertaining. Well, I mentioned that I was in the Gilbert Burns, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson realm, and I am. For a half strip of bacon, I've got Gilbert Burns inside distance at plus 275. Now, I guess I'm sticking with my theme of high-end grapplers here, although I think Burns is just as likely to win this fight via knockout as he is to try to sub Stephen Thompson. I don't think that he just naturally gets a sub from a takedown. Wonderboy doesn't get taken down all that frequently. It is a very minimal amount in the UFC. But I could see him end up on the ground because Burns lands a bomb first. And he is going to be looking to do that early. That is for sure. I don't see any reason why Burns couldn't turn off Thompson's lights just like Anthony Pettis did 2 years ago. And obviously Pettis not looking as good now as he was then. I don't think these scenarios are super likely based on where the line is. I think the most likely scenario is Stephen Thompson controls this fight from a distance like he normally does and just simply picks him apart and outstrikes him. That is what I think the most likely scenario is. But at plus 275, I mean, Burns was looking pretty good heading into that Usman fight. Did land a pretty nice bomb early, just didn't happen to turn the champ's lights out. Stephen Thompson's 38 years old. At some point in time, Father Time gets there and you can't fight him off any longer. I'm hoping that today, well, we'll say tomorrow, is the first start of that. Burns inside distance, half strip of bacon though. I don't want to go too crazy at plus 275. That's what we got. 6 MMA picks for this Saturday's UFC pay-per-view. But guess what? We're not done yet. Ben and I still have our sides of No House Advantage for today, and we are looking into the baseball realm. Ben, what is your side for No House Advantage?
So looking this over, I do what I normally do. I went to try to identify some big favorites, maybe some big run totals. Twins at home today, minus 250. So they are expected to put up some runs. Certainly the Tigers seem to be in trouble. I'm just going to go to one of their main guys, the Nelson Cruz. You got 0.5 RBIs. I think he can go over that. Should have ample opportunities. Like I said, when you're minus 250 at home, certainly you're supposed to put up some runs and win that game. Cruz should be a central part of that. Going to keep it pretty simple. This is not like basketball, because baseball is just not structured like that, where we can look to Bobby Portis, who we identified as just, obviously in a different role. It's not that simple, but I do think Cruz is in a pretty good spot tonight.
Taking a similar path for you, I'm going to Aaron Judge over 0.5 RBIs. Jake Odorizzi has a 275 expected ISO against righties over the past 2 years. That's literally all that I need to know in this spot. I'm thinking Judge goes yard, ranks really high in my home run metric. So I got to tail him at No House Advantage. So give me Aaron Judge. I think he gets there with a home run, but at least 1 RBI. Now we are absolutely done with the picks for today. We will be back on Sunday, though. Keep your eyes peeled for that NBA Finals Game 3. Ben and I know the breakfast menu on Sunday. That's probably more like a brunch menu at that point in time. It fits the weekend theme a little bit more. Ben, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, as always, give us a like on the video and stay tuned. This is not going to be the first or last. This is the first. That's just not true, but not the last MMA breakfast menu that you see. We're going to be doing some college football in here, NFL props, certainly the NBA. We're going to have you covered each and every day. So stay tuned. Give us a like. We appreciate the support.
Matt, let the people know what kind of content you've got going on at Awesemo.com.
Right now, doing a ton of MMA in the off season. But my main gig with Awesemo is working with Ben on the college product. We do all the college football, college basketball stuff. Also dabbling in some NFL as well.
There you have it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. One last reminder, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you again on the breakfast menu Sunday, Game 3, NBA Finals. Good luck, everybody. All right. Friday, July 9th.
Hash masks.
Those aren't going well.
It goes better than what I invest in, let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, Safe Moon's not going great. Time we're putting in another
Super Farm. Lofty got me into something called Super Farm.
God, I'm gonna be broke by the end of this.
That's why we're doing this video. Got to get.
What have I got myself into?